Don't start that over again. Hi, everybody. I am Don for the International Society of Caricature Artists, and I am here today with Paige Gandara-Valderas. Hello, Paige. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How about you tell us a little bit about your history as a caricature artist and as a member of ISCA?
Right. So, as we mentioned, I've been with ISCA since 2018, but I've been doing caricatures for much longer. I've been doing caricatures since 2012. So, I started when I was 17 years old with Jeff Piscina on the Riverwalk. I was a senior in high school, so I trained with them for about a month. And they were inside of a mall that I also worked at when I was in high school. I worked at a movie theater, and I remember going into work early just so I can see the drawings because I thought they were so cool. And so yeah, I asked them one day, if I could learn how to do them, and Jeff took me on as under his wing and taught me for about a month. And then after that, I went into college, studied to be an art teacher, but also I stayed doing caricatures. So I was simultaneously doing caricatures while also, studying to be an art teacher. So yeah, even when I became an art teacher, I was still doing caricatures. It's just something that I fell in love with. And I remember, once I got a job as an artist, or sorry, as an art teacher, I knew I wanted to incorporate caricatures in some capacity. Uh, there's plenty to learn in art. So squeezing it in to the curriculum was a little difficult, but I came up with a concept to uh, do an after school caricature program. And I was like, I'll teach anyone who wants to learn. And so yeah, that's why you brought me on today to just talk a little bit
Yep.
about that. I didn't actually learn about ISCA until 2018 because I was a solo artist, like working by myself after Jeff Piscina. I had no idea there was this network of caricature artists until about 2018 when I started traveling on the road with Uncommon Caricatures, and I learned so much. Made friends with so many other caricature artists, and then found out about ISCA shortly after attending my first con. Um, I got onto the board, and I was on the board for a couple of years, and also being an editor for EF. So yeah, that's kind of like my story and my background, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you like I said, you've been a very active part of the community. It's obvious that it means a lot to you anyway. Uh, so this after school program that you mentioned is the reason I wanted to talk to you here. Um, why don't you tell us some about that? What
Right.
exactly does that involve?
Yeah, and I wanted to I forgot to mention that being active in the community and like being really passionate about art education and caricature. I also got my master's degree from UT Austin, and my whole research was integrating art education with caricature. Um, Trying to teach, art teachers how to incorporate caricature as an art form into their curriculum. So that, yeah, I just wanted to, mention that because I didn't in the last question. But
No problem.
so as far as the program goes, I started that first year when I was a teacher, and I would recruit some students and just kind of teach them. I started off with like facial features and face shapes. We didn't have a lot of resources, so I would use my own materials. Like I would bring my own easels from home, and we would, do caricatures at the school, and I would train them so that eventually they can work on campus and work prom and different events and things like that. And now I still have students who are are still doing caricatures even after the program years later.
Oh, cool. So what was involved in getting it started?
So basically just my love for caricature. I remember when I was 17, I didn't have a lot, I would have to catch the bus and go after school every day to like learn how to do caricature. And I thought it would be a cool idea to have it right there for them. Build a program to where they don't have to travel, they have it right there, and they learn from their art teacher. Um, and not only just for me, I would also bring in guest speakers. So I would bring in some artists, some caricature artists to, talk to the students and um, show them their techniques because, there's a ton of techniques. Like I always tell them, like, I'll teach you, some basics, but there's so many different ways and approaches to take on caricature. And I also wanted them to see like hands-on different techniques from other artists. Another thing that we would do is we would log into AJ's Tune Heads workshops.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I would, register and then would go get some dinner, go back to the classroom, and then they would all like see the seminar. So that was really cool, I think, for them.
Yeah, that would be cool. So I assume that you needed the cooperation of the school that you teach at or the school board or what was involved there?
Right. So the school, I mean, I guess officially you have to, anytime you have like an after school program, you do have to be like, hey, these are the
Right.
students that are interested. Let's do an official club. But really, they were all like on board with it. And as soon as they learned like what they were doing, they loved it. And, we worked prom every year and it started getting a bit bigger too. Like other campuses were interested in it. And I figured, my program's growing. I need to do a little bit more. So I actually applied for a grant, wrote a grant, and was gifted $5,000 to fund for 20 easels, 20 Tom Richmond books, um, 20 drawing boards, paper, like bulldog clips, you name it, everything that we use, Neo colors. So actually, I'm a fully functioning program that has, enough resources and equipment to teach 20 artists at a time. Not that I've ever had 20, but it steadily grows every year. I think my first set of caricature students, I think I had a one the first year, and then two, three. And I think the most was last year. Last year I had about, I think it was 11. So yeah, every year it's been growing since 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great. And do you anticipate it getting bigger as you keep going with it?
I think so. It's expanded to other campuses and um, yeah, there's more students that are interested. So it's really cool. And I definitely try to help them get jobs here in San Antonio, just like Commons. And I think Commons is a great company for starting, like getting to network with other artists and kind of getting, uh, live experience drawing people. So they're already going in with some skills, and I even have other students who just skip commons and then go off and do their own thing. So it's really cool to see them, doing caricatures even after the program.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Mhm.
Obviously they're taking to it. Do you know of any that have like who are like looking to do it as a career, as a profession?
Oh yeah, there's several. Most of them came from the last couple of years. There's two that work on the Riverwalk downtown in San Antonio, and they have their own little company. And in their bios says we learn from our art teachers, so it's really cool to see that I've made an impact in that way. And there's another student who's studying to be an art teacher. Um, she's in her first year and she texted me like a couple weeks ago saying, hey, Miss Paige, I need some advice. I have my first gig at a Chick-fil-A. help me. What do you use here? Blah blah blah. Like just kind of getting a refresher. So yeah, the students are, doing the thing. So really proud of them.
That's great.
Yeah.
It must be fulfilling for you to see them take to it that well.
Hmm.
Can you give us some idea of how you start teaching someone? I assume that these are your art students so they already have an established interest and certain level of skill in art. So
Yeah.
how do you take that and start transitioning into caricature? What do you start with?
Well, I think the first part is identifying, like I think oftentimes students don't really understand their potential or recognize the talent that they have. And so as a teacher, it's our job to be able to recognize and foster those skills, and like let them know like, hey, you have a talent, like these are things that you can do. So oftentimes like I start off by seeing them in the classes and just being like, hey, like I recognize that this is something that I could work with
No?
caricature. So sometimes it'll take me to, be like, hey, I have this after school program and recruit. Um, but sometimes it's the student who makes that initiative. I wanted to share one example. I had a student. This is one of the ones who works at the mall right now, also in her first year in college. She was a completely Spanish speaking student. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but she would come every day after school and learn from me. We had that language barrier, but she was, very adamant about learning. So there's that. As far as content goes, I think, as a teacher, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. That's something teachers always say. You don't reinvent the wheel. Like do what works. And Tom Richmond's book is wonderful. It's a great resource. So I kind of like it, I kind of treat it like a textbook. It's like, let's
Okay,
study each feature, here's some samples, here's some things. So I'll teach them from the book, but also teach them from me along with the guest artist. But we go like head shape, features, accessories, hair. We get to body, we learn color theory, we learn themes. And depending how long the student's in the program, because sometimes students are in there like for 2 years. Um, the longest student I've had was 4 years, which is
oh
the one
wow.
the Spanish speaking
Oh, okay.
yeah, her name's Jasmine, and she's no longer just Spanish speaking. She's very fluent in English now, so it's really cool. Like I'll see her, and we'll reminisce about her time in the program and the progress that she's made as an artist and a student. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the outline that I do. And over the years, I've just added more and structured it more so that there's a solid curriculum to be followed for myself.
Cool. And when you talk about having guest artists, how does that work? Do they Zoom in, or do you have people come in person, or how?
So far the guest artists mainly have been in person, and the Zoom, I've had one Zoom, and then the rest have been, AJ's workshops, which the students get to ask the questions, the students get to draw within the workshops. So yeah, it just depends. And really, like anyone who's interested, or if I know an artist is going to be in town and they want to come, visit my classroom, we get them all set up to come in person and visit. And I love having guest artists because I have a great relationship with my students, but sometimes it's only me telling them, and sometimes they're like, and then when someone else tells them, it's like it kind of reiterates, like, okay, this is
Right, right.
this is something that you can try or do. So yeah, it's great to have other artists come in.
Cool. Do you have any particular goals for the future of this program? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, I just want to continue with it. And you know I think having me being a caricature artist and offering this program is not only benefiting the students that are choosing to join, but it's also recognizing the recognizing caricature as an art form. Like this, the students, whether they have me as a teacher or not, know I'm a caricature artist.
Right.
They're aware of what that is. And then with the students being in it, their friends know what it is because the students practice on their friends and it just becomes more known. So I think that's a positive. Um, I just want to continue to grow it and continue giving opportunities to students. Um, and just kind of helping them find their passion and something like making helping them realize that art can be, a job, like, and you can make
Right.
money from it. So, yeah, that's my biggest goal. And then over time, just really expanding out to other campuses within the district and being able to work different events within the district. So, yeah.
That, that's really cool. I think this is an exciting thing that you're helping to introduce this art form to
Hmm.
young minds that may not be aware of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole mission of the International Society of Caricature Artists, part of the mission is to help raise awareness of the art of caricature as more than just a novelty at kids' parties or something. So I'm really glad that you're doing this. Um, I don't know if we have a lot of art teachers in the organization, but if we do, if they see this and they think that this is something that they'd like to try in their own schools, do you have any advice for them on how they could get that started?
Right. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like art teachers. It could be caricature
Right,
artists who
right.
are just, maybe they want to put on like a program within their child's school, or maybe they want to do a community event, or maybe they were commissioned to teach a lesson on caricature. And it's like, I know that could be overwhelming, right? Like if you don't have, the teaching background, like sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking, presenting a lesson in front of others. So, for one, I'd love to be a resource for anyone who has anything like that, art teacher or other. Um, but yeah, I guess some words of advice is um, really just make it your own, have fun, be natural. Um, Caricatures is a very novel art form, and people are just coming to acknowledge it as its art as an art form, like
Hmm.
openly, especially because of TikTok and Instagram and Caricature Party and all that.
Right, right.
So it's like people are really interested in what we do, and I think having that confidence to share that you're part of this community is really exciting. But yeah, just recruit some people, show them what you have, and if you need help, I'm always available.
Cool. Thank you. There is one other thing that I wanted to bring up while I've got you here. But
Uh-huh.
before I get to that, let me just ask you: is there anything else at all that you'd like the members of the ISCA to know about your program,
Um,
or have we covered everything?
I think we've covered everything. I hope in the future that these students of mine get to meet more, like all of our members eventually one day, and they're part of the community. And I think that would be really cool. I hope that maybe one day ISCA can also have, at the actual con, like have, recruit art teachers and their students to come. Not even just mine, but like anywhere. I think any art student, art teachers, would really be interested in seeing this and bringing their students to go see the artwork, like with like a community event. So maybe an outreach to the art teachers in the city that they're visiting.
That's
Um,
a really interesting idea.
yeah. So I think that's all I have.
Okay. Before I let you go, I do also want to bring up the Instagram account that you started with a couple of other ISCA members. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, yes. So by we, I mean me, Kim Morton, Heather Proctor, we created an Instagram account called Caricature Squared. So it's an account that kind of pokes at the non-essential, like, or not the main focus of the caricature. So maybe like a t-shirt design, or maybe these earrings, like these little bunny earrings, you just draw them really quick and they look a little goofy because we're like so focused on the face, right? We don't put as much time and energy into like the little things, right? So it's just kind of like the little fun illustrations that are within a caricature. It's like a caricature within a caricature. So that Instagram is called at Caricature Squared. So you can DM and we will repost. So right now we only have like 150 followers, and we're trying to get some more engagement within the community. So hopefully that happens, sooner.
Yeah, yeah. I hope that gains some traction for you, and maybe seeing this interview will call some more people's attention to it.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking with us tonight, Paige,
Thank you
and
so much.
wish you luck with your continuing program, and hope that it inspires other people to spread the word in similar ways.